All this week during the RNC, we've been taking an in-depth look at the stakes for Colorado if Trump wins the second term. Tonight, what a Trump win would mean for Coloradans' personal rights. This is Decision 2024, the stakes for Colorado. Here's politics guy Marshall Zellinger.
With that signature, Democratic Governor Jared Polis put abortion rights protections into state law 2 years ago. Voters in November will decide if this should be etched into the state's constitution. The Republican Party platform says this is a state issue.
I believe this is following a similar course as slavery, where it was first left up to the states, and then eventually it came back on a national level to say this is a human rights issue.
Comparing abortion restrictions to slavery is Faye Barnhart with Colorado Life Initiative. She tried and failed to get an issue on the ballot for November defining a fetus as a person under the 14th Amendment. No person shall be denied life or liberty without due process.
I believe if we applied the 14th Amendment, we could apply that to all living human beings.
Colorado is insulated unless there is a federal ban at the congressional level passed and then signed into law by the president.
Karen Middleton is the president of Cobalt and the co-chair for the campaign trying to put abortion access in Colorado's constitution.
I'm very suspicious of the platform as it's written, and what I'm seeing is that they are really out to overturn any abortion protections left in the country. They want a national ban.
While Trump has touted being responsible for overturning Roe v. Wade, he is not currently calling for a national abortion ban.
For 52 years, people have wanted to end Roe v. Wade to get it back to the states. We did that.
LGBTQ rights could be a focus under another Trump presidency, with punishments for teachers and educators that allow for gender neutrality.
They will be faced with severe consequences, including potential civil rights violations for sex discrimination and the elimination of federal funding.
Could you imagine a school telling me that I couldn't dress the way that I wanted to dress to come to school every single day simply because it looked more masculine than it did feminine? What decade are we in? You know, that is absurd.
Democratic State Representative Leslie Herod is part of the LGBTQ plus caucus. She warns that Colorado taxpayers could be negatively impacted for federal policies that limit gender neutrality.
If a school were to create gender-affirming bathrooms or say that we have gender-neutral bathrooms, that school can lose federal funding. Will Colorado taxpayers then have to foot the bill for the millions of dollars of federal funding that will no longer be coming into our state because we are gender-affirming? Yes. That's a huge problem.
I voted for him twice already. I'm going to vote for him again. That doesn't mean that we all have to line up lockstep.
Republican State Representative Lisa Frizzell is a Trump supporter who last year sponsored a bill banning transgender students from participating in women's sports, basing participation on the person's biological sex at birth.
I do believe that if you're a biological male, that you should participate in men's sports, not women's sports.
Trump's platform also calls for the same, but Frizzell believes it is a local issue.
Policy matters as important as this should not be broad-brushed by the federal government.
Trump's platform, as we've talked about, includes many parts of Project 2025. The topic of gender in schools is expanded in Project 2025, and when it comes to books, it calls for educators and librarians to be classed as registered sex offenders for producing or distributing books with transgendered topics. I've not seen Trump explicit on that issue. That may be where his platform and Project 2025 differ a little bit, or we just haven't heard him on that.
You see a lot of moves by Colorado Democrats in recent years to put more and more rights into the state constitution, right, with the idea that as long as some things remain states' rights issues, that they can kind of keep this, I guess, like a left island or a blue island among a sea of red states.
Sure, and it would take an act of Congress, so House and Senate, to pass something signed by the president to make something national. Look at the concern of President Biden and the concern last week of Senator Bennett saying you're going to take the House and Senate with you. That's where, even if you put it in the state law or state constitution, it could be at risk nationally.
Marshall Zellinger, thank you very much.